I have to admit that when someone told me about a band from Brazil called Sepultura, my first thought was Brazil. It's not a location for a metal band that a lot of us were familiar with up until then and caught a lot of people by surprise. What was it like being in a metal band from Brazil in the early days?
Was not too easy because because of the mostly because of the all the government, and the prejudice against this type of music. The city that we from is a very Catholic city, but even then, the rock scene was very big. A lot of people really enjoyed the rock music itself and the heavy metal. So and we have these friends that we always getting together and to listen to music and to discuss about it and started to play together, and from there the movement really got stronger and stronger and stronger, and I had the chance to record an album, and I started traveling outside of our city, which was great, and became all this after 30 years.
Yeah, was it really hard to get gigs in the early days? I mean, you mentioned that there was a bit of a like an underground scene there.
Yeah, it's
Was it
all.
hard?
Uh, yeah, it was hard, but at the same time, it was very hard to get the music. Very
Yeah,
few of the only the big the big names would have a record release in Brazil, and it was very hard to find. We have to really search for and start to through the fanzine, those magazines, and
yeah,
sharing letters with people from Europe, from people all over the world. We start to really have the the chance to listen to more bands, exchanging like cassette tapes through
yeah,
the mail, and that was the main thing. And
yeah,
then, of course, everything started to with the time, everything started to get a little better, better and better.
yeah. Okay. Was it hard to like break out internationally? You mentioned the trading tapes with people overseas, but what about breaking the band internationally? Was that a bit of a struggle for you?
It was a little hard in the beginning, because like I mentioned, when we had the chance to do the record, and start traveling, we exchanged this, the material with people from Europe and United States, and that gave us a chance to 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 sign a deal with the international label,
Yeah,
and that from that, we really fought to 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 get a to get into a tour, because we knew we had to play live no matter
yeah,
what. You know that was the chance, to turn the page.
yeah,
So when we got the chance to in 1989, when we got the chance to go on tour, that I think that was really the beginning of all. When we really had to.
yeah,
Back then, Brazil was already small. We had to search for new grounds, and we started from Europe, and then we went to the United States, and eventually we end up doing the whole all the continents, which
yeah.
was great.
Now that second album, Schizophrenia, that's got you signed by Roadrunner. That was obviously a very important step in the history of the band. And then you come out with Beneath the Remains. Now I read somewhere that someone called this album Sepultura's Rain in Blood. Now that's high praise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always good that it's a good comparison. It's a good compliment, definitely.
Yeah. Now you're touring more and more. You started opening for some big names like King Diamond. What was that like? That must have been a good show.
It was great. That was the first chance, because at the time King Diamond was like the main
Mm.
act for Roadrunner.
Yeah.
I think we have the chance to play, if I'm not wrong, I think it was the Halloween night in New York City. So
Yep.
even that we had a very short set, but it was good, to have an introduction in the, in the in the in the market, which
Yeah.
was great.
Now, talking about big shows, Rock in Rio in '91. Tell me about that. That must have been insane.
That was great. That was the first time that we had really the chance to play in such a big festival in our country. And that really opened up the doors for the future appearances in Rock in Rio. It was great. If like we had we we had a set, if I'm not wrong, like for like 30 minutes, and but it was great. The seed was planted for the years to come. So now we have the chance to play in um, uh, some of the other of the Rock in Rio through the years. Even the one in Portugal, the first time that they had the Rock in Rio in Portugal was great. So
Yeah. Now, you've been steadily releasing albums over the years. You're a very productive band. There never seems to be too many years between albums. A very productive band. Now, who are the major songwriters in the band?
Andreas writes most of the stuff.
Yeah.
Brings the ideas, and together with Derek with the lyrics, and you know eh, but the way of writing of the band is still the same. For the yeah, if you have an idea, you just bring to the rehearsal room, and from there we discuss and develop the song.
Yeah.
But usually we try to do everything together as much as possible.
Yeah. Do you ever write songs while on tour?
Not really.
No. Okay.
No, you might have an idea here and there, but you keep your portable recorders with you all the time, because when you have an idea, you have to at least record that idea and
Yeah.
keep it, because otherwise you forget it.
Yeah. Now we'll get to
But
you. We'll
but we
get to.
never really stop to tour. When we go on tour, it's touring mode.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get to your latest album in a minute. But up until the latest album, if you could name a favourite album of Sepultura up until then, what would it be?
I think the favorite one would be the next one, the one that I don't know yet.
Right, well, let's get on to that then. The latest album, The Mediator
It's very
Between Head and Hands Must Be the Heart, released in 2013. Tell us about that, the inspiration for it, the recording. Let's hear all about it.
well. The inspiration came from the phrase itself, which is the title of the record, and was which is based in the movie from the 20s, from Fritz Lang,
Yep.
Metropolis, and and this time we just use the phrase as a conception, to bring us it's a very strong phrase, and it's still a modern phrase that can be used up to days, you know, and instead of the past two records before, we did the like kind of soundtrack for each, for instance, for the Dante 21, and the Alex was, the Clock Orange was based on that. This time we just use the phrase for the conception, which is, you know try to not robotize yourself as much. Try to always um, listen to your heart sometimes, and instead of use only the mechanic part of the situation.
Yeah. Now, did the album turn out how you wanted it to turn out?
Definitely, I think everybody's very happy with the recording, with the
Yeah.
sounds. If we are not happy, never would release it.
Yep.
But it was a very excuse me, it was a very good timing, and we had the chance to work again with Ross Robinson, which was great. And with his input and his vision,
Yeah.
really helped to develop that raw sound that and try to bring as much as the live vibe as possible.
Yeah.
So,
Do
which
you
is
have a
great.
Do you have a favorite song from the album?
No, it's very hard to pick one song.
Okay.
I think the whole conception is very good. Of course, there's the songs that we play live. And it, I can't pick one song. It's very hard.
Okay. Are you on tour at the moment?
No, right now I'm laying down my mom's house in my room, waiting just to have to do all these interviews and
Yeah.
to a couple more hours, and then I'll get in my car and drive back to São Paulo
Right.
because tomorrow, yeah, we flying Wednesday to South Africa.
Okay.
We
Excellent.
have two shows in South Africa. Then we come back, one show in Brazil. Then we have a stop in the US and heading to Australia.
Yeah. Yeah. You're coming to Australia very soon. Now, how many times is that to Australia now?
It's been a long time. I think this will be the fourth,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Or I can't remember. It's been over a decade that
Yeah.
we there the last time.
Yeah.
But I think it's the fourth. If I'm not wrong, it's the fourth
Yeah.
or the fifth time.
Yeah, okay. Now, you're not coming to my city of Adelaide this time around, but I know a few people going over to see you in Melbourne. Now, what
Okay.
can they and Australians in general expect from a Sepultura show this time around?
I think they will see a lot of variety of the songs. Since we haven't played there for a long time, we're gonna try to do as much as we can and try to cover all the history of the band.
Yep.
And I recall Australia have been a great crowd, so we're expecting the best in all the shows. And unfortunately, we're not making through Adelaide this time, but we've been there a couple of times, and it's a beautiful place, and we have some friends from there. So, but I'm sure we're gonna see them around somewhere.
Yeah. Where are you headed to after Australia?
We stopped back in the USA, and then we have the international traveling. Maybe up to December is done this year. Maybe some shows in South America still to do, but it's not confirmed.
Yep.
Brazil for sure is still there's some stuff to be done until the end of the year. But we excuse me, we're getting ready to preparing for ourselves for next year. So setting up again Europe and play as much as we can. They're already starting to book everything, so we should be a very busy year in 2015, and
Yeah.
I hope we can get back to Australia as it do not take as long as we took, which is not our fault, but.
What's the plans after that? Have you got plans for a new album? Anything in the works yet?
No, we still have one more year of touring.
Yeah.
There's a DVD for Rock in Rio that's been released
Right.
here in Brazil, in some places in I think they just got licensed to Europe, and we still have ground to cover for this record. And like I said before, we never really didn't write anything on tour, so we have really to stop. But I'm sure at the end of next year we're gonna be already thinking of something new, But it's always every time the ideas are flowing, we always keep them fresh and
Yeah.
save it for the next.
Yeah. Now, I won't go too deep here. You've had a few lineup changes over the year. We'll leave that alone. But the core of the band, that's yourself, Andreas, and Derek, have remained unchanged for quite a while now.
Right.
Eloy's come in on drums.
Yeah.
How's he fitting in?
Perfect. He's the kid is the beast.
Yeah. Okay.
He's amazing. Yeah, it's a even that he's really young comparing to us, and he seems to be in the band for more than 3 years already. And he's very energetic. Brought us a lot of energy from his background. He's a really strong and very capable musician to play this type of music. So his way of playing really brought us a lots of energy. And he could really represent the past, the present, and the future of this band for sure.
Excellent. Paolo, it's been
Yes.
fantastic talking to you, and
Thank you very much.
look forward to Australians welcoming you very soon. And I hope that everything Sepultura attempts in the future pays off dividends and you have a very successful time.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Everybody's very excited to come back to Australia, and I hope won't take too long to get us again there.
Excellent.
Thank you very much for the support through the years.
Thanks, Paolo. You have a good day. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Right.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
Paolo. Bye.